The crooked anchor and the unwelcome occupant. It was the kind of Thursday where everything felt slightly delayed, as if the universe had pressed snooze one too many times. Outside the crooked anchor, the lawn, rarely used and largely ornamental, was now cluttered with 50 egg cartons, filled not with eggs but golf balls. They had been dumped in a perfectly symmetrical pyramid by a delivery driver who, upon unloading the final carton, simply said, "Right then," got back into his van and disappeared down the lane. David stood at the doorway with a hand on his head, processing the sight like a man watching his life get gradually weirder, one parcel at a time. Did anyone order 50 cartons of golf balls? He asked no one in particular. Brian, seated at the bar as ever, gave the faintest shrug, a sleeping stray cat now coiled comfortably in his lap, purring like a small, warm engine. He didn't seem thrilled about it, but he wasn't moving either. The note on the side said, "To the champion of the East Window." "That mean anything to you?" David asked. Brian looked at the cat, then at David. "I once fixed a draught near the window with a beer mat. Might have peaked then." From the kitchen, Clifford popped his head out, powdered in something dangerously flour-like. "If the balls are edible, I could poach them," he offered. "They're not," David said flatly. "Well," Clifford grinned, "not with that attitude." Then, just as the village clock struck whatever time it wanted to, it hadn't worked since 2012, Pete finally entered the pub. Late. As always. He moved with his usual unhurried pace, nodding once at David, twice at Brian, and headed toward his usual corner seat by the window. His eternal pint already sat waiting for him, as it always did. But something was wrong. Someone or something was in his seat. A large, unknown man-creature, hunched and lumpy, wearing a raincoat made entirely of what looked like laminated pub menus, sat shoveling into his mouth an unholy mess of egg-fried spaghetti. The dish smelled faintly of confusion and regret. The creature slurped loudly, eyes darting left and right like a man with secrets. Pete stopped, looked at him. Everyone saw it. No one said a thing. David, halfway to asking something, reconsidered. Brian didn't even glance up, partly due to cat paralysis, partly by choice. Pete stared at the creature. The creature, fork mid-air, stared back. Then, without a word, Pete calmly turned, walked to a nearby stool at the bar and sat. He didn't speak. He didn't drink. He just stared into the middle distance as if waiting for the room to course-correct itself eventually. The cat shifted on Brian's lap and sneezed. "Do you think," David said quietly to Brian, that man's part of some sort of spaghetti cult?" Brian sniffed. "More likely Clifford's latest attempt at fusion cuisine. Last week he served me scrambled lasagna." From the kitchen came Clifford's muffled voice. "Spaghettis. A sophisticated take on omelettes and regret." Outside, a single golf ball rolled down from the pyramid, bounced off a plant pot, and landed softly in a puddle. Inside, the creature finished his meal, licked the plate clean with one disturbingly long tongue, stood up and, without a word, walked out through the back door. Not a soul stopped him, not even the cat. Pete got up, moved to his usual seat, and resumed his eternal pint as if nothing had happened. David wiped down the bar. "You ever think we should install a doorbell or something?" Brian shrugged. "For who? The normal ones never come in." Pete raised his glass, possibly in agreement, possibly in surrender. And outside, under a greying sky, the golf balls remained, silent, patient. Another day at the crooked anchor, another mystery best left entirely alone.